So today we have three distinguished people on our panel who are going to discuss on the topic investment banking and portfolio management. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Pranav Thakkar, consultant at Alvarez and Marcel. He will be sharing his views with Mr. Akul Gupta on investment banking and with Mr. Yash Vijay, finance management trainee at Hero Motorcorp. Yash Vijay. So Mr. Yash, what is your take on the changing face of corporate finance function over the years, especially given the current pandemic situation?
So over there, you have to imbibe a little bit of selling spirit, I would say, because you are selling the stake of the company and you want a good price as well. And you are continuously negotiating with the buyers, be it the mutual funds, be it the insurance. So you have to continuously be updated with the market, and that's CFA provides you a good hand. Apart from that, I would say all the traditional aspects, accounts, taxation, budgeting, even CFA helps over there, like in the budgeting aspect. There's a lot of curriculum that you will study in the CFA, where you will get a lot of knowledge about what all types of budgets are there, how you plan them. So it gives you a good hand. So I believe the corporate finance function is not limited to what we thought of. And we always have that image in the mind when we enter into industry that we will be doing the accounts and taxation. Guys, that's not the case. It's changing, and it's changing.
Consultancy. Mr. Pranav Thakkar, how does a career in management consultancy look like?
So good evening, first of all, to everyone. Be it management, banking, if I just have to combine both of them together, in times of like the situation that we are in today, the COVID situation or any type of recession that comes into the market, the overall reaction to the market is it goes into a phase of consolidation. When I say consolidation, there are fewer firms which practice after the end of a recession. The reason for this is very simple. It's that you as a small enterprise, you might not have the resources to sustain in an environment where there is no sales. Something like COVID, like airlines, you would see someone would file bankruptcy, someone would get merged into another larger company. So that's where, if I'm not wrong, investment bankers come into picture. They are the middlemen where in such deals. As management consultants, it's a broad field. I'll just explain you what I do. Basically, we are into improving corporate profitability. So basically, a company would ask us to evaluate their processes, evaluate their functions. And as management consultants, since we have studied those functions in depth from other successful businesses as well, what we do is we do a functional and organizational transformation of that company, and we set up those functions and processes in a way which is similar to how a successful company would run. So there's a lot of streamlining, there's a lot of analyzing the productivity, efficiency of the employees. There's a lot of automation that goes in as well, because one of the biggest reasons for failures or being not that much of profitable when compared to industry is the impact of automation. If there is a lot of manual intervention, it's always human intervention is always prone to errors, as well as it takes time to complete any process. So that's where we would advise them to automate.
So I think it's time we all should get to everybody's favorite topic, which is that show me the money, right? Everybody wants to know what's the broad compensation for each of the fields that you work in, right? So Mr. Akul, would you like to elaborate?
Sure. So I'm not sure how to put it in a more simpler way. I do not want to give you numbers and then you end
just
up
close the deal, investment banker.
I don't want to give you numbers, but see, let me put it very clearly. Out of all the finance roles, right, and maybe Yash and Pranav can correct me, banking is one of the most highest paying jobs, right? If I can put it in numbers, maybe in 3 years of actual front-end banking, you can end up making 1 CR per year. So it's decent money, right? So, but to come to front-end banking takes a lot of effort. Generally, what happens in countries apart from India, coming to front-end banking is not that difficult. But specifically in India, looking at the amount of competition we have, this journey is slightly tough, and it also depends on luck. So even if you are not a part of a global bank, even if you are a part of a domestic investment bank, you can end up earning somewhere close to, maybe when you start off, obviously you will be in that 15 to 20 range, but then you can move forward, right? You can move to a global bank, and then within 3 years you can reach that 1 CR number. So that is very much possible. And please take these numbers with a grain of salt. And it should not be that you start your career and thinking कि नहीं मुझे वहाँ तक पहुँचना है, right? It's also a function of how much effort you put in your job. It is also a function of luck at times. You prepare for an interview. I prepared for a lot of interviews, and then at the end, during a partner round, you get kicked off, right? Because the another guy was slightly better than you. You should not beat yourself on that. You should just keep working hard, right? But just to give you a broad perspective, I gave you those numbers.
Alright. So let's move on to the next question, which is, what will be your views on the CA and CFA combination? What are the pros and cons of such a combination? Mr. Yash, would you like to elaborate on this?
Yeah, sure. See, I was very clear in my mind that I have to pursue CA from the beginning. But CFA came in between, and I just passed level 1 in my college, at my college 3rd year. And I'm a level 3 candidate right now. So I believe that CFA provides a good hand on the financial markets a lot, which, so if I have to compare the CA's curriculum, I would say the CA ka jo curriculum SFM paper hota hai, that's equivalent to the CFA level 1 and a little bit of level 2. So level 2 and level 3 are just way beyond in finance, ranging from different types of investments, fixed income, equities, alternative investments, and all that, asset allocations and all that you will learn in that CFA. That's the missing aspect in the CA. But I would say, see, if you're solely pursuing CFA, then the chances of getting into Indian industry are a little bit low, because the awareness among Indian industries pertaining to CFA are not that prevalent right now. Although you can get into a niche job profiles like equity research, rate analyst, research analyst, all through CFA. But in order to start with a good profile, CFA comes along with some other degree, be it an MBA, be it a CA. So you have to be focused from the beginning. Like, if you are good in numbers, and if you really like finance, and if you're really into reading the balance sheets of the company, then I would say CA is the course for you along with CFA. But if you believe so that something related to sales, something related to more of the management aspect, then I would say that MBA plus CFA is a better combination to begin with. Also, I would say CA helps you in such a way that whatever you study in the SFM subjects is there in a CFA. So in that way, you get a synergy benefit when it comes to study. Fine. In MBA also, the curriculum is almost same, but the difference is that in MBA colleges, you are taught the application of the concepts. That is little bit missing right now in the CA and CFA, because they are distinct courses. They are not campus courses. But application is something which is very important. And if you do apply your minds in the CA plus CFA combination, and you start with the application aspect of your studies, then I'm sure it can beat anything. CA and CFA combination can beat anything. Like, I would say, if you see the top managers of the funds, Indian funds, be it ICICI Bank, be it HDFC Bank, all are a combination of CA and CFA right now. CA is the most prominent. CFA they have.
Frankly, I did my CFA because I wanted, some knowledge with relation to the venture that I started. So it was purely a finance venture where I started. So based on that, and following that, I started studying CFA because that was the most prominent course I knew back then into finance. So that's why I started CFA. But after having done CFA, I frankly, to be very honest, I believe that a qualification which you do should be more from the acceptance point of view than your interests as well. So when you, like in India at least, if you see, CFA is something which is not that accepted as a qualification in itself. It always adds value when you do it along with something. So you do MBA from an IIM and then you do CFA, that makes sense. If you do CA plus CFA, that makes sense. But independently, as let's say if you're doing BCom honors and if you're doing CFA, the acceptance of your knowledge, the market would be very limited. Probably limited just to the, as Yash mentioned, it would be restricted to boutique firms who are purely into equity research, or something like investment banking, something like management consultancy won't come handy to you if you are just a CFA. Always, So my personal opinion would be, if you are pursuing something, either if you want to do it after your college, either go for MBA. I think MBA has a larger credibility as well as acceptance in the Indian society. And until and unless the acceptance from the employers doesn't come in, they won't hire you. If you want your value to be understood, it should be pursued by the opposite person in a similar way. So that hasn't happened for CFA, at least. Similar course is ACCA, which is very much equivalent to CA, but with a global recognition. But it hasn't come to terms with when it comes to the Indian market. So ACCA is actually a good course. If you want to replicate it or replace it with CA, it's a good course. But again, see, it does not have much recognition in India. So again, that loses its value. So you'll have to see what the market has to offer for a particular course. In my personal opinion, CA plus MBA would make more sense. If you are doing independently, then MBA would make more sense. If you have to do CFA, then it has to come along with something. And see, again, CFA is something, it's not a course in itself. Like MBA, you have to devote 2 years of yourself for MBA. That's not happening for CFA. CFA, you can do it while you are at job as well. Right. So as Yash is doing, he's a CFA level 3 candidate and he's working as well, right? So you can manage both of it when you're doing CFA, but something like MBA, you cannot do it, along with, obviously there are like part-time MBAs that you do, but if you're planning to do from IIM or something like that, then that would make more sense to me, in my opinion. If you are if you're pursuing CA, if you're done with CA, CFA can be an addition. But if you just have to pick one, then I would say MBA would be the most remunerative if you want to get into IB, management consultancy, or top equity research or something like that.
So, Mr. Akul, there's a question for you. How does the work at the front end office and back end role vary at investment banks?
That's a really good question, and I've been asked this multiple times. So I have myself worked at back office, and now I'm at a front office position. So let me put it very straight. The back office roles in banking would not be that great, because banking at the end is a client facing role. It's a as Pranav mentioned, it's a sales job, right? You have to get deals done, and the more deals you get done, the bigger bonus you get, right? But what happens in backend, that you are just working with analysts who is there in the front end. So you are like a support system to that analyst, right? So you won't ever get to know what is happening in the deal actually. What is the work which I'm doing? Iska output hone kya wala? You never know that in a backend position. So and obviously the compensation is different for backend roles, right? So your agenda should be that even if you're starting from a backend role in banking, the goal should be reached to. My net just disconnected. Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear the question. Can you please repeat?
Sure. As a fresher, what will give me a better learning experience in investment banking, mid-office role at investment bank like JP Morgan, or a front office role at a boutique bank like SPARC Capital?
So any day a front office role would be much better as a learning experience, even though if you're interning at or working at a small bank, but in a front end role, that would give you much better experience than doing a mid office role at a bigger bank, right? Because wahan se if you stay in a mid office position for like a lot of time, the chances of you coming to front end becomes absolutely difficult. So you have to be sure ki even if I'm getting paid less now, but in the future I'm really making a growth story for myself, right?
So with this, we end our session for this evening. Thank you all for joining us today. Also, a huge thanks to our mentors for sharing their valuable views with us. Thank you, everyone.